Every night you go to bed and rest your head on your pillow, isn't it the most wonderful sensation? After a long day of work, just lying down and feeling that softness, hopefully falling asleep right away instead of scrolling on your phone for hours, it's pure bliss. But did you know that the fluffy pillow beneath your head is not just a comfort object? In fact, it's a fossil fuel product, a chemical hazard, and a piece of permanent trash that will outlive you by more than 700 years. And yes, it's even polluting the air you breathe while you sleep. Nice dreams, right? Well, today we're putting pillows to the ultimate environmental sustainability test, because a truly sustainable pillow should be good for your health now and good for the planet in the future. So what is the most sustainable pillow out there? Let's start with the bad news first. The vast majority of pillows are filled with one of two materials, polyurethane foam or polyester fiberfill. Both are types of plastics and both are petroleum based, which makes them an environmental nightmare. Let's focus on polyurethane foam and follow its journey from raw material to landfill. This type of plastic is made of two petrochemicals called polyol and diisocyanate. And excuse me if I don't pronounce it correctly, like English is not my first language. Something that is a petrochemical means that it is manufactured using chemical processes that start with crude oil. Every piece of polyurethane foam in your life is a product of the fossil fuel industry. For example, you can find it in your mattresses, in your shoe soles, or even in your sponges. And that alone makes it unsustainable, as the process starts with a non-renewable resource. But it gets worse. The chemical reaction that creates polyurethane foam releases air pollutants that affect local air quality as well as greenhouse gases that warm the planet. In other words, making that soft foam leaves a very hard environmental footprint. And if we're going to talk about unsustainable pillows, we also need to cover microplastic shedding. Every time you use or fluff your pillows, you shed millions and millions of microplastic particles that get inhaled into your body, potentially causing different negative health effects in both the short and long term. When you wash your pillow, you release thousands of tiny plastic fibers into the water. These fibers are too small for most wastewater treatment plants to filter out, so they end up in our rivers and oceans, entering the food chain, as the animals you eat may ingest those microplastic particles. And yes, you often see pillows marketed as eco-friendly because they are made from recycled plastic bottles. While this sounds great and is still better than non-eco-friendly pillows, remember, these pillows are still permanent trash. They are not biodegradable. This is a form of upcycling that simply prolongs the life of plastic that will ultimately end up in a landfill and last for centuries. Speaking of microplastics, these are not the only negative contributors to your health. You know when you buy a new mattress or pillow and it has that new smell? Well, during the first weeks, that pillow releases volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, from the materials or adhesives used in production through a process called off-gassing. These VOCs are mainly released after manufacturing during the first days or weeks of use and can cause various health problems, from short-term issues like headaches to long-term risks like respiratory illnesses or even cancer. VOCs are small, easily evaporated molecules, so they escape into the air at room temperature. And over time, off-gassing slows down as the product cures and stabilizes, but since the pillows remain indoors, we remain exposed to those VOCs for long periods of time. We also need to mention that synthetic materials like polyurethane foam or polyester fiberfill are so flammable that manufacturers add flame retardants. These chemicals interfere with combustion to slow the spread of fire. The major problem is that many of these are persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. These pollutants are not chemically bound by the product and can therefore travel long distances through air and water, remaining in the environment for years, decades, or even centuries. Over those extensive periods of time they are around, they can cause harm to human health and ecosystems, even at very low concentrations, and studies have linked them to hormone disruption, developmental harm, and even cancer. So now that we know which products do not contribute to our sustainability, let's look at the ones that actually do. The most sustainable pillow is the one that has a full, clean, and circular life cycle. It must be made from natural, renewable materials, produced ethically, and designed to return to the earth. Our first best-in-class option is natural latex. This material comes from the sap of the rubber tree itself, and it is a highly renewable resource. The tree is tapped, not cut down, meaning that we're making small cuts in the tree's bark to release latex sap. And so the tree can be harvested for long periods of time, up to 30 years. Rubber tree plantations can even help absorb carbon dioxide, which contributes further to our sustainability. Natural latex is inherently non-toxic, meaning no VOCs or chemical flame retardants are needed. It is also naturally hypoallergenic, meaning less likely to cause an allergic reaction. But there is more. It is naturally resistant to dust mites. Polyester and polyurethane are are also resistant to them, but thanks to the help of added chemicals. Organic latex is also incredibly durable, lasting from 10 to 20 years. And best of all, it's fully biodegradable, meaning that it can be broken down naturally by living organisms instead of piling up in a landfill. And of course, your natural latex pillow won't rot or fall apart while you're using it. Biodegradable doesn't mean it's unstable or that it decomposes on your bed. It means that after you finish using it and it's thrown away, it can break down naturally in the environment, but under certain conditions that will allow it to decompose, related to soil, microbes, moisture, and of course, finally, time. Next, after natural latex, there are two excellent low-impact plant-based alternatives. First one is kapok fiber, which is harvested from the seed pods of the kapok tree. The seed pod is basically the container holding those particular seeds. The trees grow in the wild and do not require irrigation, pesticides, or fertilizers. It's naturally chemical-free, fluffy, and fully biodegradable. And because it's a natural fiber, it doesn't shed microplastics. Then there are the buckwheat hulls. This is a great example of a circular economy, as the hulls are a byproduct of the food industry from milling buckwheat groats, reducing waste and upcycling material. Buckwheat pillows are durable, lasting 10 years or more, and when they finally wear out, the hulls are completely compostable. Finally, we have organic cotton and wool, and the organic word here is critical. Organic farming eliminates the massive pollution footprint and conventional cotton's synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, which is better for soil, water systems, and farm workers. Wool is a highly renewable fiber that is naturally fire resistant, again avoiding the need for those toxic chemical flame retardants. These natural fibers will last years and, unlike polyester, they will rot and decompose at the end of their life cycle, returning to the earth. So, the most sustainable pillow is a product made from certified natural latex, kapok fiber, buckwheat hulls, and organic wool or cotton. It's one that will last a decade, keep chemicals out of your home, and will eventually return to the earth, leaving behind no permanent waste. The economic choice can be smarter too. There is usually a higher upfront cost for the sustainable choice, but these can also last longer than their conventional polluting counterparts. That is the essence of sustainable consumption. There are certifications that you can check out to verify that the entire global supply chain of the pillows you buy adheres to strict environmental and social criteria. If you want to find out more, check out the description, as I've put the ones that I do know about there. What about you? What kind of pillow do you have at home? Actually, I didn't know what mine was made of until I finished this video, so I invite you to check out and do the same with yours. Mine is made out of polyester, by the way, but I will buy an organic alternative for the next one once the lifespan of my pillow ends. And what did you think about this video? If you liked it, please comment, like, and subscribe, as it really helps me to produce more videos like this so you can get to know more sustainable products out there. And remember, yesterday doesn't define you, growth does, and growth starts with the decisions you make from this moment on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.